I am Christina Heideck of PTO Answers, and today we are going to talk about a hot topic. So hot, gets me all hot and bothered when I hear what I can or cannot do as a PTA or PTO, and all the rules that we're supposed to be following. And some people are even making up rules that we're breaking. They must just really like to follow rules. I don't know. Anyway, so today we are going to be talking about, can PTOs and PTAs give gift cards and still be legal? Legal with who? I don't know. There's no PTO police. There's the IRS though. So maybe we're trying to stay legal in their eyes. Don't know. So before we dive in, couple housekeeping matters. This is obviously on the topic of financial management. If you are a treasurer, or you just want to learn a little bit more about what treasurers should be and shouldn't be doing in their role for the PT or PTO, I have a semi-new training. If you've been following me for a while, you've probably seen it, but you may not have signed up. So I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and sign up for that training. It is called Treasurer 101, learning the ins and the outs of your role so that you can serve as treasurer without all this stinking stress. So when this live is done, I will drop a link to that training in the comments, or actually in the video description, so you can click through on that. Secondly, this live was inspired because I wrote another post about what to do for teachers to show your appreciation since we're in the middle of a pandemic, and maybe throwing them a luscious and wonderful teacher appreciation luncheon, brunch, breakfast, dinner, whatever is not possible this year. So what do you do instead? And so I will also drop a link to that post, because that's been a super popular post, and I can understand why, because we love our teachers, and especially now, they're doing so much for our kids, right? So we want to show our appreciation. So what are some other ways? I have some great ideas for you in that post. All right, and then third, and this is most importantly, anything that I talk about in this live, don't take it if you're really concerned, go ask an attorney. I am an attorney. I'm not practicing as an attorney. My license is inactive with the state of Ohio, so I have legal knowledge is involved. But if you're truly concerned, I'm not familiar with your local state tax laws, so you want to double check with an accountant and or an attorney for their last and best and final word on this matter. Okay, so let's dive into the subject at hand. So the topic is, can you give gift cards and stay legal? Okay, so one, I referred to this earlier, there's no PTO police. So if you give a gift card, there's nobody going to be like, aha, Susie at Bluestone PTO purchased a Target gift card for the outgoing PTO president, and so we're going to hunt down Susie and arrest her. No, that's not how it works. So no fear. That would be awfully silly. Second, you are not going to lose your 501c3 status if you occasionally buy gift cards. If you buying them on the regular, however, that is a problem. So there's a problem for so many reasons. So let's get into them, why this is an issue, and why many tax professionals will advise against giving gift cards if you are a 501c3. Okay. So the first reason is that when the PTO gives a gift card to either teachers or to a volunteer, it actually creates a taxable event. And what that just means is that's income to the recipient. So as an organization, maybe you don't really want to be giving your volunteers or teachers extra income that they have to declare. So technically, you're supposed to declare it as income. But that's kind of on them. So that's really not you. You can do whatever you want. If you want to give the gift cards, and whether they choose to report it as income or not is a separate issue, okay? So don't let that be the stopping point for you here. The second reason gift cards are frowned upon is that the IRS considers them to be the same as cash, right? Because there's no paper trail that's automatically generated beyond the initial purchase. So, and this is a problem for a couple different reasons. One, there's just like a lack of accountability and it's hard to account for. And it's also ripe for fraud and embezzlement. So take this example, and we talked about this. I have a really good blog post about this because my community was hit hard, well, not hard, but was hit with an embezzler. He did it a couple different times and he's recently supposed to be sentenced, and I gotta circle around to see what kind of sentence he got. But I digress. The gift cards, someone could go out and buy a whole bunch of gift cards under the pretense of them being for fundraiser rewards, like an incentive, or it could be for just teacher appreciation, or it could be back to school, because some schools, or when I say schools, I really mean PTOs. Some PTOs purchase gift cards to give to their teachers to kind of as a teacher supply stipend. And so let's say somebody goes out and buys a bunch of those gift cards, but then they never make it to the intended recipients, and the bad volunteer pockets them. That's going to be hard to prove. And so you might not want to go down that road. Like, you just don't want to be giving opportunities for people to do bad things. So whatever. I think that risk is pretty low. I think the convenience factor of the gift cards and the thoughtfulness factor of the gift cards and the practicality kind of outweighs all that, but up to you. Okay, the next reason why it's an issue, it's just hard to track. So for accounting wise, you can deduct it. Let's say you are a PTO in an area where people don't have a lot of good credit, so that you're like, oh, well, they need to purchase supplies for a school event. So let's say a readathon. Let's say the volunteer doesn't have room on our credit card to advance the purchase, pay for the purchase ahead of time and then get reimbursed. They don't have money for that. So you're like, aha, I'll just make this easier. I'll give her a gift card, and then she can go and turn the receipt in after she's made the purchase with the gift card. Well, one, I gotta tell you, people are really bad with receipts. They just don't turn them in. And two, do you really want to have to be in the position of looking at the receipt to make sure that every single thing that was purchased by that volunteer was actually for the readathon? Again, opportunity for theft / embezzlement / wrongdoing. No, so don't do that. So the alternative in that case is go with the person to make the purchase yourself, or go with a vendor where you can write a check. So those are really your options, or we'll advance you. I don't know who's going to advance you. Nobody on Amazon is going to advance you. So you should find somebody with room on their credit card to put it on and pay for it. The next issue is that IRS will consider the gift card to be cash, so that could be flagged in an audit, and they will want to see what was done with that cash, right? The gift card, because especially if you're a 501c3, you're supposed to be spending money on things that are in alignment with your stated purpose, which is usually for the betterment of the kids or the school or something along those lines. And you're not supposed to be giving to organizations that are for profit. Nonprofits can give other nonprofits money, but nonprofits are not supposed to be giving for profits donations of money. Okay, so that's where that could kind of come into play. All right, and then there's one other issue about gift cards that I want to raise to your attention, and I think this one is such a load of hooey, but I'm going to share it because it gives me a giggle. Okay, so when I was doing my research for this, because I didn't want to just rely on my own opinion, I actually did some research. There were a couple attorneys who said, you are transforming by giving volunteers, or even teachers, which is it's a crappier argument in my opinion. But when you're giving them a gift card, you are transforming them from volunteers to employees, which is so laughable, because that's just, on its face, it doesn't even pan out, I think. So I think that's ridiculous. But if you go back to the definition of a volunteer, go to merriam-webster.com, it says something like somebody who does something without the expectation or the reality of getting paid, something like that, or getting compensated. So even a nominal gift card would be considered compensation. So technically, you're no longer a volunteer if you're getting even like a thank you gift at the end of your term. However, I think that's a load of hooey, and I don't think that holds very much water. So I think technically that is correct. I think in reality, like I said, that's a bunch of bunk. So anyway, so what can you do? If in this day and age you want, and what I mean is spring of 2020, and you want to give teachers gift cards or even volunteers gift cards, I say go for it, because really everyone is going to understand why you're doing a gift card in lieu of something else. The other thing you should be aware of, like if you want to do it, just do it like not on the regular, do it very judiciously, so only when you need to, and just make sure that the amounts are small, because if the gift cards are like $25 or less, and they're distributed to a number of people, and you could also create a paper trail. Now that I'm thinking of it, you could just put a gift, if you want to give the teachers a gift card, you could do an e-gift card. So you would have a transaction receipt showing that it went to them. And you could put in like the subject, thanks for all that you did for this year. We appreciate you as a teacher. So that would be good evidence that you're not trying to embezzle this money. Or after you distribute physical gift cards, you could just send a follow-up thing and say, hey, I put this in your mailbox. Hope you enjoy it. Again, thanks for a great year. We appreciate all that you did, yada, yada, yada. So that would be, I think, somewhat of a paper trail to back you up in case of an audit. So showing that the volunteer who purchased the gift card just didn't embezzle it. But I think overall, you should not really be hesitant to give gift cards, as long as you're not doing it willy-nilly and not putting hundreds of dollars on Target gift cards and giving those out. So I hope that clears all of this up. But I think it's a really important issue, because I think PTOs and PTAs really want to stay fiscally responsible, and they don't want to cross anything that might get them into hot water. But like I said before, you really have to take into account the practicality, like the reality of the situation that we're in right now. It just doesn't make sense to show teachers appreciation the way that we normally have. So I think you have, or even volunteers as they're exiting their positions, especially if they were like a long-term volunteer, and you want to give them a token gift card to show your appreciation. It doesn't make sense to show your appreciation in the normal ways. So I think it's very prudent to be doing a gift card right now. It's safe. It's just the safe option. With that, I am going to jet, but I thoroughly enjoyed this rant, me explaining, because I guess what I should clarify, like why I think it's a rant. I hate when people like come into the PTA PTO Superstars group and they're like, and this doesn't actually happen that much in this group, but another group I used to be in, I'm not going to say which it was, there were all these people who thought they knew everything, and they'd say, that is against the rules, you cannot do that. When in reality, you can. And the reason I think that they were using was that it creates a taxable event. Well, it's a taxable event, not for the PTO, but for the recipient. So that kind of isn't your business what they do with it. But there, as we know, with all PTO volunteers, there are some people that can't resist putting their little fingers into other people's business and telling them what for. So yeah. So with this, I hope this was super helpful. Again, I'm going to drop the links to the treasurer training, which I highly recommend you go through if you are a new treasurer. Even if you're a treasurer, you've been around for a while and you're like, am I really taking care of everything I need to be taken care of? That is the training for you. It is 100% free. All you gotta do is give me your email address so that I know where to send the training to. And the other resource is the post about how to, I think I called it socially acceptable teacher appreciation ideas. Really fabulous ideas. People are really loving the sign idea that I have in there. So I'll just give you a little interest peeker right there. And I'm going to drop the link to the blog post that this video will go into in just a couple minutes. So I will see you in a couple weeks when we will talk about the very next topic. And thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.